Hey, it's Joy. We all need someone in our corner. When we go through tough stuff as young people, including adverse childhood experiences or ACEs, like when home life is rough, or we face challenges in school or in our communities, or we're struggling with our identities, or we're in stressful situations and circumstances, and we're not sure how to cope. Having someone who we know cares about us can make all the difference. If you need some support, you can check out numberstory.org. And if you want to hear more about what it means to have a mentor or to be a mentor, you're going to want to check out this conversation with my friend Jessica. Thanks so much for joining me today, Jessica. Jessica is here to talk with us about mentoring. We are super excited to chat about that today. And I wanted to ask you, Jessica, how have mentors made a difference in your life?
Mentors have made a huge difference in my life. Growing up, I was in foster care for some time, and being in foster care, I didn't feel like I had a lot of people that I could rely on or that I could reach out to and ask for support. And that was where I first got to see what a mentor was really like. Someone who showed up for me, someone who was there for me and accepted me as I was and didn't judge me despite some of the questionable decisions that I was making in my life. Um, and still supported me and like saw the best in me. They Mentors throughout my life have made such an impact in showing me that despite whatever I'm going through, despite whatever my life looks like, I'm still lovable and I'm still acceptable and I'm still worthy of love and I still have an opportunity to change.
Can you share about a mentor who was there for you in a moment when you really needed them, or a certain mentor that helped shape your life or your trajectory in a way that really stands out to you? Is there a certain mentor that comes to mind?
There are a couple, but I think the first one that comes to my mind was my former social worker named Greg. He was my social worker from the time that I was about 15 until I was 18, when I aged out of the foster care system. And even after that time, like he stayed as a person in my life, someone I could reach out to for support and to talk to. And there were so many times that I was just not making good decisions and I was being really reckless and doing some questionable things. And he never once bat an eye. He never once judged me. He never once looked down on me or shunned me for the decisions that I was making. He just continued to tell me over and over again how much I have to offer, how worthy I was, how lovable I was, and how much he cared about me. And like, I honestly feel that, at least for myself, going through foster care, I pushed people away because I didn't feel like they were going to show up for me. I felt like if I pushed them away, I was going to prove that nobody was there for me and that they were all just going to leave. And he was one of those people that no matter what I did, no matter how many times I pushed him away, he always showed up and he never left my side. I mean, he's still one of my mentors today who I can reach out to and talk to and go and have lunch with and we even got to get to a point of working together in a sense, working with the foster youth community and to be able to go from having him as my social worker to being my mentor to basically being a colleague and a friend. um, I'm so grateful to have that man in my life.
Can you share a little bit more about your experience mentoring others in the role that you're in today?
Yes. So I work in an organization called Voices Sonoma. It's a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping young people between 15 and 24 and helping them become successful, productive members of society. And I first got involved with them when I was 18, fresh out of foster care. And what started out as a place for me to get these services and get support, and have mentorship available to me turned into something inspiring for me that I wanted to give back and I wanted to be able to provide for other young people what was provided to me. And so I initially started working there in 2012, um, worked there off and on until about 2018. And I say off and on because I was still making some questionable decisions, not necessarily taking the right path. But for whatever reason, voices always stuck in my head because I got to do the very thing that was provided for me for such a long time, where as soon as I walked through the doors, I wasn't judged. I was accepted as who I was. When I was having a hard time, instead of looking down on me or shunning me or berating me or anything like that, they tried to help me. Like they genuinely cared about what was going on in my life and wanted to help me find a solution. And so when I had the opportunity to apply for a position in 2012, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be able to provide that for other young people. And it's become one of my greatest passions is seeing the young people, uh, seeing the light turn on in their eyes and seeing the excitement about opportunities for success. Like when they get their driver's license or they get their first apartment or they're getting off the streets and finally into a shelter or something like that. I mean, you would be amazed at how excited they get about the smallest things, even going into the clothing closet and getting a nice t-shirt, when they've been wearing the same shirt for the last week and they haven't been able to take a shower, like seeing that happiness and that joy and that learning to love themselves again is honestly the best thing in the world. And so I did end up leaving in 2018 to go on another adventure and try something new. But even during that time, my heart was always reaching out to my young people because all I cared about was their success. I mean, that for 3 years that I was out of the area and working in a different field, I still had young people reaching out to me and asking me for support and asking me for advice. And I couldn't turn them away. I couldn't turn them down. I couldn't tell them to, not to reach out to me anymore because honestly, like their happiness means so much to me. I want them to succeed and I want them to know that they have someone in their corner and I'm not going to give up on them or leave them behind just because I wasn't working in the field anymore. And so when I had an opportunity to move back to Sonoma County where Voices was, and I heard that there was a position available, I knew that's where I wanted to be in the end. Um, and I've been back there since September of this year, and I love it. I love getting to connect with our young people. I love letting them know that they have someone to reach out to and that I'm not going to judge them or look down on them or berate them or cause them any harm, you know? So many of these young people that come in were just like me. you know, they had been or they had felt abandoned, left behind, neglected, unloved, unlovable. And I get to show them that they're worth so much more than that. I listen to their stories, I listen to their fears, and maybe sometimes I will be very direct with them. Like, hey, guess what? You are making some dumb decisions right now, but I love you anyway, and I'm here for you anyway. And how can I help you? Because that's what they need. They need someone who's going to show up and who's not going to leave them behind just because they're not making good decisions. The same way that Greg did for me. You know, even when I was making dumb decisions, he never left my side. And that's what it means, in my opinion, to be a mentor. Showing up for them even when they push you away, even when they're intentionally making things difficult, to see just how far you're willing to go to show up for them.
Let me ask, because yeah, I didn't even realize how long your history of your work there has been, that from 2012 and now here we are in 2022. What do you feel like do you feel like you continually have more to offer, more to grow, even when you've said, you've walked some of this walk, you've made, as you've mentioned, questionable decisions that give you some insight, being able to meet some of these young people where they are, to say, are you able to open up about where you've been with them? Are you able to just maybe listen in a different way? Sort of, what is your path? How do you feel like you're able to offer something as a mentor that's maybe a little bit different because of your lived experience?
I do share some of my history with them. Um, I know that by looking at me, um, a lot of these young people wouldn't think, "Oh, she's been homeless," "Oh, she's, gotten in trouble," or "She's, um, used substances and gotten in trouble because of that." They they would see me as just another regular adult a lot of times, and so, yeah, I open up about some of the stuff that I've experienced in my life and in my teen years so that they know I'm not just another random adult. I've actually been there, and I let them know that I came through voices, and that voices helped me get to where I am today, and so they can actually see that there is support and there is potential for success despite whatever it is that they're feeling right now, you know? Um, and so, like, when I hear these folks talking about their experiences and talking about their struggles, I relate. I so heavily relate in so many ways, and so I really don't have much judgment. The only time I give them a hard time is when I know from my own experience where this path can lead them. And and I share that with them. Like, look, it's this might be fun right now, or this might be exciting right now, but these are the potential consequences that you have to face. And I don't want to see you go down that path. So how can I help you? And if they choose to continue making the decisions that they're making, then that's their choice. And I'll continue to love them from afar. And I let them know, like, when you're ready, I'm here. It's I know it's difficult for folks who haven't experienced the things that these young people have experienced, to understand the mindset or the mentality behind it. But I get it. It's a lot of fear. It's a lot of shame. It's a lot of guilt and insecurities, and feeling they have to put on this particular face to prove themselves, whether you know to themselves or to other people that they surround themselves with. They wear a mask, and um, even though I know it's not necessary, and so many of us know it's not necessary, they're not aware of that yet. And so they're
Mhm.
still trying to figure it out. And so I have to be willing to just sit and wait and still love them anyway as they figure themselves out on this journey.
Can you tell me what you think are some qualities that make a good mentor? You've touched on some of those already, that ability to sit through some uncomfortable things and be there through the tough times, that unconditional love and support. What else? What makes a good mentor if somebody's kind of not sure they've got it in them? What would you say? What makes a good mentor?
Well, I think something that is truly vital, but can be kind of difficult sometimes, is holding boundaries. A lot of times these young people will do whatever they can to get what they want from someone. And I know in my own experience with being a mentor, there have been times where a young person has gotten me to go past my own boundaries of what I'm comfortable with, um, to try and help them and support them because I didn't have those set boundaries in place. I wasn't experienced enough with what it meant to keep myself and others safe at the same time. And so that would look like giving them rides, late at night because I wanted to make sure they got somewhere safe, or answering my phone at 1 in the morning and going to pick someone up when I needed to wake up early the next morning or something like that, right? Like, you can show up for people and also set these clear boundaries. That way they can learn to respect your boundaries. That's something that I've learned over time, is that a lot of our young people uh, will try to take advantage. They'll try to see how much they can get. And it's not for lack of caring for the person. It's not because they want to be manipulative or hurtful or anything like that. It's like you mentioned, it's a coping skill. It's something that they've learned over time to take care of themselves. And so it's like, all right, what can I do to try and get what I need? But if you set clear boundaries, they'll respect you more.
What would you say to somebody who's hesitant to get involved, to say, I don't know if I can, who says, I don't know if I'm the right person. I don't know if I have what it takes. I don't know if I can handle it. I'm not sure it's me. I don't know if I'm wise enough or if I'm it. What would you tell that person?
Well, a couple of things that first come to my mind is like, who are you to say that you don't have something to offer? Like we all have something to offer to another person, whether it's, education, wisdom, hope, like we all have something that can provide someone with support. And then also, they're just as scared of you as you are of them. That's why they push you away. That's why they have these behaviors that they use, and these coping skills, these survival tactics that they've used all of their life to push people away and to push your buttons because they're scared. They're so scared that you're going to leave them just like everybody else. And so if you know that they're just as scared of me as I am of them, all you have to do is just connect with them. Just talk to them. You figure out something that they like, whether it's art or music or skateboarding or math. I don't know. Some people like math. Whatever it is, just work on building that relationship. And you don't have to rush it. You don't have to um, expect them to adore you within a few weeks or a month. Just stay consistent, and just know that it's okay to be afraid. It is. It is scary, building relationships with these young people, and becoming a mentor and showing up for them. It can be intimidating and it can be scary, uh, but the fact that you show up every time when you say you will, and the fact that you answer your phone every time when you say you will, that will develop so much more trust with them, and they will see you as someone that they can look up to and they can count on. And that's huge. You don't have to do too much. You don't have to do anything outlandish. You don't have to go and buy them things or take them places. Just be there. There's no other real expectation for them. Just show up.
Can you tell me, just as a last question here, a little bit about the reward? Like, has there been a moment for you when you felt like this is what it feels like to be there for someone or to help someone? And you've mentioned a few moments there that were really special. Is there something that stands out to you?
Well, I guess um, it's kind of a it's kind of like a coin. It's got a positive and a negative, connection to the thought that I have is um, when I first started working at Voices and becoming a mentor to these young people, I developed relationships with some of these young people, right? And I developed a liking to them, and I showed up for them, and I did what I could to support them. Now, granted, not all of them make the best decisions, just like I didn't when I was younger. And unfortunately, there were a couple that did end up going to prison, and one for a short period of time and one for a much longer period of time. Um, I haven't worked with these two young men since I think 2015, maybe 2016, and they still call me from prison.
Mm.
They still reach out to me as often as they can, and to know that it's been years since I've seen them face to face, unless it's on a video chat, um, they still see me as someone in their corner,
Mm.
like they're in their mid 20s, and they still reach out to me like I'm a support person for them, and I love that. I love that I'm able to develop relationships with young people and be a support person for them, that even when life gets really hard and it shows up in a not so great way, they still see me as someone that they can reach out to.
Yeah.
That is one of the best things, I think. Even when things get really tough, they still want to reach out to me. I mean, I also had a couple of different young people in the past. I haven't seen them in a few years, but they called me mom. When they would see me at the center, they'd be like, "Hi, mom," and like, no, I'm not a parent at all, but they saw me as someone that they could trust and love, and see as a support person, like a
Mhm.
mom, and I love that. I'm not anybody's parent, but I'll take you on. You can be my kid.
Thank you so, so much for this conversation today, Jessica. Thank you for the work that you're doing. Thank you for shining your light in the world and for sharing about it with all of us. It's really, I mean it from my heart, it's really inspiring. I feel grateful to know you. I feel thrilled that you're able to uh, willing to share about what you're doing with more of the world. And I'm just excited about all the people that get to know you through the work that you're doing every day. And I hope that what a difference you're making. It's really incredible. And I hope more people hear about what you're doing and make the leap to reach out and mentor. There's so many young people that need solid, consistent people in their corner, people like you. So thank you so much for sharing with us today. And I know something that you and I shared, we both, I think, mentioned the other day, we like that saying of be the person you needed when you were younger. And you're certainly an amazing and incredible example of that. So thank
Thank
you
you.
so much.